Hello everyone, welcome back to Crypto Warehouse.
Hello, I am Mike. And this is Brogan.
Hello.
And tonight is the Chill Show, which is a little bit slower than normal. We take a look at all the news. We've got some information on when we think Bitcoin will hit $30,000.
Yeah.
Later on in the show, we're going to take a look at AGIX Singularity, which is an AI coin. We've got some price predictions for you on that. We've also got some metaverse news, and we're going to take another look at a game called Earth from Another Sun, which we've looked at before, but we haven't caught up with it for a while. And the Q&A is, the topic is Go Woke, Go Broke. That's at the end of the show. But before we do that, we have some very special news. Our co-presenter, Brogan, is having a very special birthday on Sunday. He is turning 18. So... please give us a like, wish him a happy birthday in the comments, and we will get on with the show. We'll ask you next week what it's like turning the big 1-8.
Right. Of course.
So, do you want to start with the
channel?
Oh, the channel information.
So then I'll go on to the market.
Go for it.
I'll pause the music because I have desktop audio off. I'll just... So, first one, our YouTube channel. 233 subscribers. We've been crabbing. In our own terms on YouTube. But it's been good. It's been alright.
Yeah. So if you're watching on Twitter or if you're watching on Facebook, head on over to our YouTube channel and give us a subscribe. It will be really helpful to try and get us to the 1,000 mark, where hopefully we will get monetized on YouTube.
I pray for the day. Anyway.
TikTok, we're picking up, aren't we?
Yes, 518. Last time we did this stream, it was probably a week ago. Yeah. Thursday. We're on 405,
408.
Yeah, something like that. Now 518. Not bad.
Not bad.
Very good. Now, actually, before I show the market, I'll show the latest video. The latest video still is bullish Crow price prediction. So the Crow crypto price prediction.
Yeah. So anyone that's interested in crypto.com, that is the native currency of crypto.com, the Crow. And we've got some price predictions. It's not as high as some people want it to be, but we think it's a fair value price for the coin on the next bull run. Yep. So if you're interested in buying and holding Crow, head all over. It's only a 5-minute video. Check it out and leave a like and a comment underneath.
Yep. Perfect. All right. So market.
Yes.
Look at this. I'll read dominance. 45.8% Bitcoin.
Yep. Decent.
Yep. Bitcoin price 28,050.
Yep. We're in a range between 27,800 and 28,300, and we're kind of stuck in that range, and we've been in that range now for a while. We're trying to break out, but we're going to look at an article in a bit that looks at what we can do to get towards 30,000. So that's coming up a little bit later.
All right. Looking at the 7-day percentage change.
Yeah.
Got Solar, Injective, and Dogecoin. I believe that's because of what Elon Musk did, isn't it?
I'm not sure if I put it in a word on the bird, but basically he changed the Twitter logo on Twitter to the Dogecoin.
Yes.
So I don't know if that was in a response to Gary Gensler putting on a pair of glasses, but it's a bit funny.
Yeah, I'm looking at the rest. $10.
What's the biggest losers of the week?
Yeah.
Anything,
let me go 7 day.
Anything coming up?
Mask Network, 14% down.
Okay, anything else?
Arbitrum.
Yeah.
XRP. If I go 24 hour.
XRP had a massive pump, so that's just a retracement.
Right.
Arbitrum had its token drop, and they had their first DAO vote.
Right.
It didn't go very well. A lot of the people holding the coin weren't very happy, so a lot of the people holding have actually sold, and the sell pressure is driving the price down. So if you're a believer in Arbitrum, you think the project's good. I mean, it's a fast blockchain. It's layer 2. If you believe it's got a future, not financial advice, then now would not be a bad price to get in, because I think about $5 or $6 is a fair value price for Arbitrum. And what's it at now? $1.50?
Arbitrum, let me get back to it. I've changed completely.
Sorry.
$1.20.
$1.20. So if you did get it, it would be a 4x from here. But obviously that's not going to happen overnight, and that might not happen. So what else do we have? Do we have word on the birds?
We do have word on the birds. First one.
Let me catch up with you on the
yeah. Let me just turn desktop audio on, so you can actually hear videos. Oh, it does play the music.
Do you want me to? Can I just turn the volume on?
Yeah, make sure it sounds right.
Yeah, we've got music on the background.
Yeah, but okay. We'll leave it. It's probably fine.
Yeah.
So the Bitcoin white paper appears to be hidden in every Apple Mac computer running macOS Catalina or newer.
Can you believe this?
Interesting.
Is there a video to go with this?
Yes.
Right, play the video. I put this in for you because I thought you'd love this. And I think this actually shows you where to find it.
Yeah.
So basically on any Apple Mac with, I don't know if it's the software version later than a certain version, it's on every single one.
Interesting. Actually, not done. Okay.
So there you go. That's how you find it.
Wow.
So the rumor is that there was a legal battle, and a disgruntled Apple employee decided to hide the Bitcoin white paper in a folder of a program that you don't really ever use on an Apple machine, and it's been hidden there. But the irony is that most of the US government who want to ban Bitcoin, they've actually got Bitcoin on their Macs, and they've had it there for ages. So CZ tweeted, for all the Binance users out there, I've not managed to announce this yet, but CZ tweeted about a couple of hours ago saying that he wants to meet the the developer and actually buy them a beer. And you know what, CZ, I think that's the best thing you could do.
Right. I'm gonna go check the comments on Binance. Says happy birthday, thank you. You guys are amazing, thank you.
Make sure to give us a follow on Binance.
Yeah.
This is only our third stream on Binance. We're trying to build our numbers up, and we do live streams, so this is interactive. So any questions that you've got, whether it be on Binance Live, whether it be on YouTube, make sure you leave a comment, and we'll either answer them during the stream or we'll wait till the Q&A at the end and we'll answer all your comments then. Anything you want to know about any coins, anything you want to know about crypto in general, just ask below.
Yep. All right, well, next one on the bird, Watcher.guru. Just in, US Treasury says decentralized crypto markets threaten national security.
So, now, what I can't figure out why this is, how is it a threat to national security? How is a decentralized system a threat to national security? It's not an army.
No.
It's not a country. It's not anything that can actually physically harm the United States. It can't financially harm the United States. It can't proactively do anything to damage America. All it is America wants to control everything. As we've said time and time again, they want to control currency, they want to control oil, they want to control resources, they want to control crypto. So DeFi, it's like asking Bitcoin to turn up to a trial.
Who's going to go?
Who's going to go?
Everybody.
Bitcoin is decentralized, which makes it uncensorable. DeFi platforms are decentralized. You can't just decide that it's a national threat. It's not a national threat. They're scared. They're scared of everything that China has been up to in the last 2 or 3 weeks with Saudi Arabia and Russia, and America is running scared. And these comments are as stupid as the comments that are coming out of the ECB, which is the European Central Bank, that are now trying to limit how much of your money you can send between your wallets. I mean, what would you... I mean, from your point of view, how is this a national threat? How is a DeFi platform, Brogan, a national threat?
It's not a threat at all. I think why they're scared is because of the situation they're in, how bad it is, and how messed up their currency is. I think they're scared the fact that everyone's getting into crypto and using that over, the US dollar, for example. I feel like that's scaring them in the fact of it's affecting the value of their currency, and I feel like they need to lie and say it's a national threat in order to try their best to try and get people who are already realizing how messed up America is, try and get them back onto the dollar, which isn't going to happen.
No.
So it's a bad situation. And Joe Biden just
not helping.
I don't know if he even knows what's going on.
No, he doesn't.
No.
I mean, when we spoke on Monday about the situation with the moving off the dollar and onto the yuan, what I did some research and I think about 70 or 80% of the world's reserves are held in the US dollar. So this transition from the dollar to the yuan, it's not going to happen anytime soon. It might take 5 or 6 years. The American dollar has been the reserve currency for 100 years, 80 years, 100 years, a long time. It takes a long time for something to lose its power. It doesn't happen overnight.
Nope.
It might happen by 2035. But what America should be doing now is looking at Bitcoin and saying, you know what? We're not backed by the gold standard, but we've got 150,000 Bitcoin that we've seized from Silk Road and we've seized from criminal activity. We're going to use that as a reserve or a build-up of a reserve for the American dollar. So the American dollar is backed by something other than its military force. But no, what are they doing? They're selling it. Justin Sun turned around and said, "I'll buy your
for a discount, Bitcoin
your Bitcoin for a discount." And I'm sure the American government thought, you know what, that's not a bad offer. But all they're doing is they're leaving themselves. And Elizabeth Warren turned around and said, Bitcoin isn't backed by anything. Well, I'm sorry, Miss Warren. What's the American dollar backed by?
Trust.
I
mean, the way I've described to it from it in fiat currencies and in economics it's the trust of the government. That's what it is.
Yeah.
Fiat is like trust in or something like that.
Yeah.
In Latin or whatever it was.
That's right.
So it literally is. It's just trust and the economic situation of like the government and how well it is what determines the price of or the value of the currency. So it's in definition terms it's hard meant by in fiat trust, and if there's no trust, then
no. And once America loses its status as the world's superpower, and that goes to China, then China gets the world reserve currency. Or we end up in a situation that a lot of people have predicted, which is an East versus West, where you have China and the Asian bloc and the African bloc on one side, and then you have Europe and North America on the other side. And we have a split, which is possible. Anyway, let's move on.
Alright, next one on the board we have is a catastrophic prediction. In the next 5 years, we will have the first intelligent virus leaked and roaming around the internet based on some LLM similar to ChatGPT, which is a large language model. It would be impossible to eliminate, taking advantage of any loophole to replicate and perpetuate itself.
So I'm going to ask you a short question now.
Okay.
Do you want to go full screen?
Yeah.
Because this is your area of expertise that I don't know anything about.
That's fine.
I'll keep the question as quick as I can.
All right.
So Brogan, in simple terms, in 5 years' time, an AI virus is going to spread across the internet. What implications will this have on the internet and cryptocurrency?
It's very bad. This is because a AI uses a large language model, which basically means it has this 2.something billion or 5.12 billion, word list, which has weights to it and it has meaning in terms of how it's processed. So, and that data is based off of everything on the internet, which means it can find any sort of, like it said, loophole or way of, finessing. So, what this means in terms of, crypto and the internet as a whole, it's very bad because it will be able to, fun.
No, I'm just saying it
I know I can't get it in 59 seconds.
It sounds brilliant, but scary at the same time.
Right.
So what we're saying is that this AI could, in theory, evolve to the point where it could start to attack servers connected to the internet.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah. I mean, if it's connected, yeah, because a leak happened, don't know how long ago, from ChatGPT where it had extensions for ChatGPT. So it had market predictor one, a internet searcher, and a math add-on. So there's all the add-ons, and one of the add-ons was to search the internet. So there's already possibility even from ChatGPT itself, which is like the staple of AI in a way.
Yeah.
It's not the full founder because there's a lot of things which are being developed, but it's like one of the biggest AI, and even that has an up-and-coming add-on which allows it to search the internet, which means it can access the internet, which is, and I think Elon Musk talked about it, and
yes.
I think a lot of people have already talked about it. I don't know, we might have talked about it even.
We have, yeah.
Where we say as long as it doesn't access the internet and able to feed itself its own data or feed itself more data from the future and be able to access, and communicate elsewhere, as long as that doesn't happen, it couldn't go bad. But it's happening. So.
I think there's a film that I don't think you've seen it. So Stephen King wrote a film called The Lawnmower Man, and the short story was completely different to the film. The short story was about a man who went around and ate the grass off your lawn. And it was a bit daft. They turned it into a film, and I think he ended up suing them because the film had nothing to do with his short story.
Right.
But it had something to do with AI that was built, but it managed to get itself a connection to the internet and then escape onto the internet and then basically hide itself on servers around the world. Right. Now, AI that we have now, I know this isn't one of our topics and we're going on a lot about this, but it's quite concerning that we're in a situation now where sci-fi is becoming reality.
Exactly.
And we're sleepwalking into it the way that we sleepwalked into lots of other things.
Yep.
not JP Morgan, the head of global markets at Barclays turned around this week and said, the reason there's no legislation for crypto is they thought it was a passing fad and it would die away. Right? We're in the same situation with AI. There is a certain number of people who can see what's going to happen, and nobody in government or any government seem to make a difference. And the problem is, this is a global issue. It's not an issue that America can sort out or China can sort out.
Which it thinks it probably
Russia.
can, because it thinks it's the biggest force,
Precisely.
giant force in the world. But
so I think in the next few weeks, I want to do a video on America, because everybody says it's the best country in the world. So we're going to take a look at education, crypto, finance, military, everything. We're going to look at America and we'll see just how great America is, and crypto and AI is going to play a big part in that, because I think if you look at the companies that have actually got hold of AI, they are American companies and countries, and that could be used to move their education, to move their finance, to move everything that they've got forward. Yeah,
I mean, China has its own things as well. Like it has it's traveling this headset where it basically read brainwaves from here. Wow. And it could tell if the child was focusing or not, and it had like a green, an orange, and a red light.
I've seen that. That was on one of our.
It was a previous stream. I think I talked about it in computer science, and I talked about it here.
Yeah.
Where basically it read the activity of the brain, and if it was like low or something, it would go red or orange.
Yeah.
Basically, and that was like a headset, so it was like light to the whole class. It basically indicates to the teacher that the child wasn't paying attention. So it's what's that thing? The saying where it's like it's not tough love. It's like where you have to do something bad for something good to happen. It's one of them sayings where it's a bad thing, but it could be useful, but it's kind of intrusive.
Just a bit.
Whatever.
All right. What's next?
The next is let me alt tab to it.
Have we got any more Wood and the Birds, or are we on to
Bitcoin?
Okay, so
there we go.
Do we think Bitcoin is going to hit $30,000 anytime soon? What does the article say? Or do you want to give me your opinion? When do you think we're going to hit $30,000?
Well, my prediction was, I don't know if it was 30. Okay, I remember we had this conversation of our prediction that you went like low 20 somethings.
I think I went 30,000. I went 30,000 by Christmas. Julian went 60,000 by Christmas. You were something like 35, I think, 36.
Because I remember it was like I said something about. I think I said Q3.
Yeah. So anybody watching, leave your comment below on what you think the price of Bitcoin will be by the end of April.
Yes. I think I said Q3. It could have been 30 to 30 something. So if I basically going to go off that, so Q3 this year, we might hit something like that. But I mean,
it all depends when the Fed pivots, because the second the Fed pivots, it's risk on. At the minute, we're at 28,000 and it's risk off. So risk off means that all of the companies, hedge funds that have been buying Bitcoin, they're not investing in risk assets. No. So they're not buying Bitcoin at the minute.
No, yeah.
So once the Fed pivots, which I think is going to be soon because America's cracking, I think September time, Q3, then I think it'll pivot, and that's when we'll start to see the 6-month push before the halving. So anyone leave their comments on the price below. I think Web Superstar is in the comments.
I'm actually going to get the comment thing up on my computer. So if you just want to talk
for a bit. So I'm going to go for 30,000 by December.
Okay.
I think Web3 said 35,000 by December, but Web3 seems to think it's going to be 30,000 sooner rather than later.
Yeah.
So we'll have to wait and see. So I've got the YouTube comments over here.
Yeah, I'm just gonna get the harnessing so we can discuss the comments.
Bring them up.
Might as well get it on the computer if I can't get it on the iPad. However, it's freezing.
So while Brogan's sorting this out, make sure to smash the like button or smash the follow, and subscribe on whatever platform you're on. If you're on Twitter, or if you're on YouTube, if you're on Facebook, or if you're on Binance Live, make sure to give us a follow. We stream Mondays and Thursdays, and next week we'll have a special gaming night on Wednesdays. So we'll be streaming 3 times next week. On top of that, we have some videos coming out at the weekend to do with some coins, some price predictions. So make sure to give us a follow on whatever platform you're watching us on.
Yep.
We're ready now.
Not quite.
Do you want me to fill some more time?
Just like
I've got no dad jokes.
Someone says on Binance, I think 31,000.
31,000 by the end of April.
Okay. Yeah.
That's decent, I think.
There we go. She's kind of born.
I think the problem is we're in a range. We're range bound, and we need something to break us. So we need basically the resistance to go, and then we will push up. I've done some TA on this, and I think I've got 31,000 and 33,000 as the 2 next targets for Bitcoin. Because if you look at the money flow, the POC, there's 31,000 and 33,000 is the next.
Well, stream frozen, I'm saying. Well, I'll leave that. I've got it up, but I'll just read this article.
Okay,
get to it then.
Get to the article.
There we go. Okay, so after Bitcoin's breakout, will 30k or correction coming up? Bitcoin's price rallies after breaking above a significant resistance level. However, the 2022 bear market is not over yet until another critical level is broken to the upside. Currently, the price is heading towards the key 30k area, a mid-term resistance in which a breakout above it would likely lead to a bullish phase in the coming months. However, the RSI indicator has entered the overbought area and is signaling a potential pullback or consolidation in the short term. In this case, the 25k area could be tested again, as it now acts as a support level.
Yeah.
Okay. Talking about the 4-hour chart.
The thing with the RSI is, I think RSI is.
Right, okay, that's the whole. That's all.
I wouldn't say the RSI is something I would base
Everything on.
everything on. Yeah, I mean, if you look at the 200 week and the 50 week, there was a golden cross about 4 or 5 or 6 weeks ago. Every single time we've had a golden cross in the last 12 or 10 years, we've had a surge. All the indicators are showing upward momentum. The only thing I think would bring us down to 25,000 would be a flash wick down. I don't think we'd hit 25. We might hit 26,000. That's my net. 26,500 is one of the targets. If we hit that, it's to get liquidity to then push us up towards 30,000. So we might retrace, get the liquidity, get the money we need to then force it to 30,000. But the issue is we've got a psychological barrier, which is 30,000. People that were buying Bitcoin at 15 and 16,000 are going to see 30,000 as an opportunity to double the money. So there's a lot of, so you've got technical barriers, but then you've got psychological barriers, and you don't need to be a genius to realize that 30, 40, 50, 60,000 and 100,000 especially, there's psychological barriers to people. You know, if you've held Bitcoin at 20,000 and it's heading towards 100,000, you're going to set a sell price at 100,000,
Right.
without having to know anything about technical analysis. So you've got all of these different things swimming. Then you've got people like Biden in the background making stupid comments. That doesn't help. So
I saw this clip actually. It's really funny. He was there and he had his hand covering his eyes or whatever to like because it's sunny. And then an ice cream drove past and so I was playing ice cream like band music, and he just did a full like 270-degree turn and started walking towards the ice cream van off the camera.
I heard that.
Oh my god.
I heard that. I've seen the meme of somebody playing ice cream van music and Biden just walking back and forth like that. So the issue is, so there's macro problems, there's TA problems like the RSI, and then you've got psychological problems. So you have all of these things in. So when you see people giving advice on prices, like we're going to do with the AI coin later, we're not going to give a price and say it's going to hit this. We're going to give you different ranges,
Right.
because we don't have a crystal ball.
No.
And if we did have a crystal ball, we'd be a lot richer than we are
We
now.
wouldn't be here. We'd be off
Exactly.
in some sunny place on the beach. Just looking at some comments, people saying show's going good. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I also want to say thank you for everyone saying the gifts. We're quite new to Binance,
We are quite used to Binance.
so everyone's selling these things. Not too sure what it means, but thank you very much nonetheless.
So what we're going to do on Binance is we're going to work out what the gifts are, the gift boxes
Yes,
are.
everyone's saying big box and stuff like that.
Yeah, and what we will do, if you subscribe to the channel and you give us a follow on Binance, in the coming weeks when we do these streams, we will be giving out boxes.
Yep.
When we figure out how to do it, we're very new. We've only, like I say, it's our 4th stream on Binance. We will figure it out.
Yeah, not even the second and third were joint. So
So we'll work it out. Now, Web3 Superstar says that he has had his Bitcoin for 3 days. Well, it's better late than never. And he said that BNB was cheap. I think BNB under 500 is an absolute steal. And it's currently at about 313. It did go down to 290 a couple of months ago. I mean, under 500 is a steal. In the future, under 1,000 is going to be a steal for BNB.
yeah, I mean it's a prospectus organization, Binance and everything in it. So
The thing that annoys me is people say that BNB and Crow, they call them exchange coins.
right,
It's absolute nonsense. They're not exchange coins because an exchange coin is what FTX had, and it's just a coin
but
of
it's
the
just buying
exchange.
itself and just
Precisely. BNB and Crow, those coins give the utility on that chain. You've got NFTs, you've got the DeFi platforms, you've got their own non-custodial wallets,
Yep.
which have the DeFi platforms on. You can earn yield on those platforms. So to call BNB and Crow an exchange coin shows that people don't understand what Binance and Crypto.com are doing, in my humble opinion.
Yeah, fair enough. I mean, I was gonna say, like, you know, when it comes to the coins, which are I'll buy companies like, you know, Binance and Crypto.com, it's more of so how well the company is doing obviously, I mean, yeah, like, you know, Bitcoin. Like,
Yeah.
if you compare it to Bitcoin, for example, it's like, well, there's no company behind Bitcoin. It's not that there's a prospect of actions of an individual company which is causing it.
Yeah.
You know, it's for the exchange coins. It's more of, you know, what sort of features are they adding? What sort of things are they doing? How well is it being kept up? You know,
Yeah.
for example, with like Picasso, the new AI NFT generator thing on Binance. Like, they're adding with Binance, they're doing a lot of things which we haven't seen yet.
Yeah.
They're doing a lot of new things and incorporating, you know, AI, all these different things. And obviously Binance Live right now, like, they're really pioneering in terms of like a crypto website where it's like an all-in-one place. So, you know, for it to be for the price, for everyone to be like, oh, it's just exchange coin. It's not. It's so much more than that.
No. And don't forget, Binance have also got the burn.
Right.
So every 3 months, Binance burns its own tokens. So as time goes by, those tokens become worth. So those tokens become rarer and rarer. So there's a scarcity added to it. And if you look at, we go back to the thing we were talking about before with money. If you look at the definition of money, is the ability to be able to spend it, the ability to be able to transport it, its rarity, its scarcity.
Yep.
Binance and Crow tick all the boxes for a currency.
Yep.
Because you can spend it on Binance, you can spend it on crypto.com, you can buy NFTs with it, you can convert it to cash and put it onto the Binance card, you can put it onto the crypto card. So they're closer to real life currencies than maybe Bitcoin. Bitcoin is.
Yep.
So anyway, let's move on. I think we're doing quite well. How long we got left?
30 minutes. wait, hold on.
This is going to be a long show.
I mean, you think right? We're gonna go over anyway because like Junior's not here, and like we can spend as much time as we want. Yeah, 5 minutes. That's all right.
Now this is quite sad, and
Yes.
we're not going to spend a lot of time on this because
we're trying to point it out.
some people thought this was a conspiracy.
Right.
But I'll let you read the article out.
All right.
So the chap was called Bob Lee,
Bob Lee.
and unfortunately, we can't say certain
Yeah,
words.
I guess.
But he was what I can't remember what the term is now that we can use. He was expired this week in San Francisco. So I'll let you go through the article because
Electric bath.
expired. Right. But if you go through, you'll realise what this guy's actually done, because his life wasn't just about creating a version of Venmo in America. He was actually looking at privacy and having your own private wallets, non-custodial wallets. So it's a bit of a loss.
Yeah.
But I'll let you go through it.
Right. Crypto community mourns following the stabbing of the life stealing,
The passing.
the poor death. Do you know what?
Just
right?
carry on.
Of Cash App creator Bob Lee. We're not going to take enough fun. Bob Lee, the chief product officer for Mobile Coin, former chief technology officer of Square, and the creator of the popular mobile payment service Cash App, has gone following in France. I can't do this. The words are just there. I just say them. In San Francisco on Tuesday.
Yeah.
He was found at 2:35 a.m. on the 300 block of Main Street in San Francisco, near the entrance to the Oakland Bay Bridge, on April the 4th. Despite the efforts of first responders and medical personnel, Bob succumbed to his injuries at a local hospital.
What's if you skip forward a little bit towards what he did, does it mention anything about the privacy wallet that he?
He's a dad.
He founded. Yeah, I mean it's terrible news.
Yeah.
What I don't like is that as soon as anything like this happens to somebody in crypto, immediately people start to say it's a conspiracy theory. You know,
it doesn't really talk about his prospects in terms of privacy, but still poor anyway.
So he's a big man for he was a big one for privacy. Unfortunately, some people pass through tragedy. It doesn't mean everything is a conspiracy.
Yeah, set by the government.
Exactly. So I think this is just sad. I just wanted to make a point of mentioning him, because if you are watching this, please go and have a look at his Wikipedia page. He was one of the guys pushing forward with privacy, and privacy is something we need to cherish, because as the years go by, we're losing our privacy to your local governments. Unless you're very lucky and you live somewhere like Sweden, or a Scandinavian country. If you live in North America, if you live in Europe, your privacy's been eroded, and people like this guy and John McAfee, for that matter, they were mavericks, but also defenders of freedom. Very powerful name, that defenders of freedom. Right.
So whoever says BNB will get to 1K plus, probably. No?
I think it will.
I think it's probably PRB. I mean, it's on the screen there. I don't know what I mean.
I think it'll hit 1K probably before the end of the next bull run. I think we could be looking at 1,500 to 2,000 in the next bull run, because that's only a 6x, 7x from here, 8x from here, and I'd expect Bitcoin to do a 5x. I'd expect Ethereum to do an 8 to 10x, because it's now proof of stake and it's deflationary. So we can't compare the previous bull run of Ethereum anymore, because Ethereum was proof of work. So it was basically printing money like the American government. Now it's deflationary. It's more deflationary than Bitcoin. So in the future, this 0.1, so basically there's always been a ratio of 1 Bitcoin will always be worth more than 10 Ethereum. I don't see that happening in the future. I think you could have 1 Bitcoin being worth maybe 5 or 6 Ethereum. So I can see Ethereum doing an 8 to 10x. I can see Cardano, BNB, XRP. I can see them all doing 10 to 15x's from here if we have a good bull run. So I think Webb's right, but I think he needs to hold on to his britches, because I think it's going to go a lot higher than you think it is. So what are we on to next?
Ethereum.
We are on to Ethereum, aren't we?
Yeah, look at the comments.
Now, I'm not expecting anybody watching this to not know about this, but December 2020 or December 2019, I can't remember which one it was, is when you staked your Ethereum to become Ethereum 2, as it was known. So that's 2.5 years ago. In a week's time or 2 weeks' time, that Ethereum will start to unlock. Because I think, is this the Shanghai update? Do you want to go through the article? I'm going to ruin the art. I'm stealing all your thunder, aren't I?
Just saying it, Ether is rallying ahead of major upgrade that will let holders more easily access their tokens. Ether is trading at a 9-month high and has outperformed Bitcoin this week ahead of a major network upgrade. Beginning next Wednesday, an upgrade to the blockchain dubbed Shapella will allow owners of Ether to withdraw their assets.
But it's not all in one go, is it? It's
no, it's more easily. So I assume it's like in steps.
Staged, yeah.
This Shapella will allow owners of Ether to withdraw their assets. Up to this point, investors would have had to use centralized exchanges like Coinbase or decentralized finance protocols like Lido to essentially exchange their locked up Ether for a token of equivalent value. Ethereum previously had a vast network of miners all over the planet. After the so-called merge upgrade in September, Ethereum migrated to a proof of stake.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think it's running now at minus 0.5%.
Wow.
So it's deflationary. So you think 0.5% isn't a lot. There's 120 million Ethereum. So you work out what's that 600,000 Ethereum being destroyed every year? Is that right?
Sorry?
How many is that? What's 0.5% of 120 million? 600,000. Yeah. So more than 10,000 Ethereum a week are being destroyed. It's a lot of money being removed from the system.
So over 80 million Ether tokens worth about $32.5 billion are staked, meaning that 50% of Ether's total supply are considered locked assets.
That's not as high as I thought, you know.
A plunge is likely to happen shortly after the completion of the upgrade, as a huge amount of Ethereum will be unlocked, and many people will also be selling their Ethereum.
I don't know about that. Leave a comment below. What's the date? 13th?
Well, today?
No, the release date. 13th, 14th of April.
I didn't see a date.
I think let's say for argument's
13th,
yeah. So leave a comment below what you think the price of Ethereum will be on the 30th of April. My prediction is going to be $2,200, and it could be buy the rumour, sell the news, which everything normally is. Whenever something like this happens, the price runs up.
Yeah.
And then there is a crash. There will be a sell-off point. But I don't believe, now we've gone to proof of stake, I don't believe we're going to see a massive crash in the price of Ethereum. No. Personally. I could be wrong. We could see it at $1,500, $1,400, but I think we could see a $2,000 Ethereum, $2,200 Ethereum. What do you think?
Yeah, I agree. I'm not gonna add on to that though, real. Just trying to check for something now.
So yeah, any comments on what they think the price of Ethereum is going to be?
I've just accidentally reset the Binance chat, not the stream, the chat. So if someone say anything, I can't see it.
Okay, doesn't matter.
Onto MicroStrategy now.
We are on
Saylor Buys. I assume it's probably Bitcoin. I mean, what else is he buying?
So there's a lot of issue. There's a lot of problem. Yeah, Web3 says there'll be a dip. Yeah, there will be a small dip. We might go from 2,000 or 2,100. We might go to 1,800. $1,800 is massive resistance. Massive support for Ethereum. We've seen that for the last couple of weeks. Okay. Massive support. So if we do hit 2,100, the first price below that will be 1,800. If we hit that, we could be at that for a month or two. Depends what Bitcoin does. Bitcoin could go on a rally. Then we could see it shoot up. But in the next, what did we hit? 4,000, 4,800 was the Ethereum price in the last bull run. Has no reason for us not to hit $10,000 or $15,000 in the next. So yeah, Michael Saylor. The one thing I'll say about this before we go into it, he now owns 1 out of every 150 Bitcoin that will ever exist. And that percentage is a lot higher than 1 in 150 because there's at least 4 million lost Bitcoin.
Yeah.
So he probably owns 1 in every 100 Bitcoin, or maybe 1 in 120 Bitcoin. Yeah,
crazy.
It is. Now, don't forget, his company have been taking out loans to buy this Bitcoin. Right. So at some point in the future, he's going to have to sell some of his Bitcoin to repay those loans. Yep. So he's not bought it out of his pocket change. He owes money in it. He's not that rich. No. Right, go for it.
MicroStrategy buys more Bitcoin as assets nears company's break-even price. Software company is still buying up the cryptocurrency, which has soared in value since January. Bitcoin had a terrific quarter, up over 68% since the start of the year, and that's led software giant MicroStrategy to double down on its crypto bets, just as the company's initial investment closes on profitability. The software company today announced it had bought another 1,045 coins, or $29.3 million, into the assets. Now, MicroStrategy has spent a total of $4.1 billion on the world's biggest cryptocurrency, making it the public company the largest stash of Satoshis in the world.
So does it mention his average price there?
Long-term bet, yeah. It's 140,000 Bitcoin were bought at an average price of 29,000.
Yeah, that's right. So he's basically finessed. Is that the term?
Finessed, yeah.
Finessed a big boy DCA.
Yeah.
So he's been buying, when we've been buying $1,000 and $2,000 worth of Bitcoin, he's been buying $30 million worth of Bitcoin. And at one point, don't forget,
1,000, 2,000 Bitcoin. So
yeah, he's been buying his average price was about $30,000 when the price of Bitcoin was $15,000. So his investment had halved last year, if you remember, when it bottomed. Now he's nearly back in profit. So the second that Bitcoin hits $30,000, his company will be in profit.
Yep.
So he's not doing bad for himself.
Everyone talk about Saylor.
Yeah. Right, so let me ask you a question then.
Yeah, hold on, let me just get to...
We're going to do a short on this.
All right. Nothing too technical, please.
No, absolutely nothing too technical.
All right.
Is it a bad thing that Michael Saylor owns 1 in every 150 Bitcoin?
It's a good question. I don't know, is it?
All right. Do you want me to answer it?
Yeah, I'll ask you. Okay. So, is it a bad thing that he owns 1 in every 150 Bitcoin? Actually, I'll say Saylor. So, is it a bad thing that Michael Saylor owns 1 in every 150 Bitcoin?
Absolutely not. because no matter how many Bitcoin Michael Saylor owns, he has no way of censoring the network. If you look at something like Ethereum, if you own 5 or 6% of Ethereum, you then get a vote on the DAO for what happens on that network. So basically, proof of stake, the biggest failing of proof of stake is that it succumbs to how rich you are. Because the richer you are, the more of that coin you own, the more of a decision-making process you have in that network. Ethereum is going to fall foul of this in the future. Bitcoin is uncensorable. It doesn't have a DAO. You can't suddenly decide that you're going to change the direction of Bitcoin by owning 1 in every 100 or 1 in every 150 Bitcoins in existence. You just don't have that power. What it does do is it gives you a huge, massive store of wealth and nothing more. There you go.
Nice. So I was getting on the next article.
All right, what's next?
Meta learning.
This is one for you as well.
All right, I'm just getting up the.
I've tried to pick as many articles tonight that are aimed at you.
Right. Okay.
So this meta learning one is quite good because I think you've got a very fresh perspective on it. Okay. So while you're bringing the article
I made
up,
a huge mistake of opening 3 articles and now the computer's lagging.
You don't do that. Have you closed down the you know what's in the bottom right hand corner?
Let me check.
You check that. So while he's doing that, what do you think about having metaverse learning? Do you think, or AI learning for that matter, do you think it's something that can replace the Victorian style teaching that we've had for 200 years where you're stuck in a room with a teacher for 6 hours a day and you're ignored? Do you think the way that AI can teach you and the way that the metaverse can help you learn, do you think that's going to benefit us in the future? And do you think there's any resistance to that in the future? That'll be my question to you as well at the end.
All right. Okay, I've got it up. Is immersive learning in the metaverse the future of education? Right. Full immersion learning is the ultimate experience for those seeking to become fluent in a new language. It allows the learner to step into a virtual environment where language is spoken all around them, rather than just memorizing a book or a whiteboard, and leverages context, culture, and community to allow learners to absorb language in a more natural and effective way. Unfortunately, immersive language learning is far less accessible than the more common and less effective classroom or traditional phone app experience. Few students have the time or the resources to spend 6 months in Barcelona learning Spanish or a semester in Paris learning French. As a result, far too few ever achieve the conversational fluency that they desire, but all of that is about to change.
Yeah.
So people are going to do this. Immersive learning is the metaverse. In the metaverse, has the potential to revolutionize education. This is Greg Sugar, VP of Operations at Line Zero. Devices like the MetaQuest offer personalized and engaging experiences for learners, allowing them to feel present in practical scenarios that students would often only read about or view on a screen.
That'll do, I think. We'll get a good gist from that. So
basically, in the metaverse, you speak language.
So, if we ignore the language side and we just look at learning in general, we've talked about this before. I know we've talked about AI being used to measure your level of, skill and learning. You just come out of the education system. Now, obviously, the education system you've had is slightly different to the education system that the average person will go through. Yeah. But do you think you would have benefited from learning in the metaverse or learning using AI?
Not in the metaverse, but using AI. I would have seen a big help. I'll go to the metaverse part first. Does it have to be a short, or can I just say?
No, you can say what you want.
Good. So I don't feel like it would have helped in the metaverse, because one thing I do agree on, which people say, is the human interaction, things like that. I agree. It doesn't feel the same, because let's say you spend your whole life, let's say you're in your room on your chair, and then you put your headset on, and you're still in your same chair in your same room, the same scent, the same, temperature, etc., same environment, and you're in there your entire life learning and doing whatever you need to do. I agree on the fact that you go to school and you go in with a teacher, and you're never going to remove the human interaction, because that's what makes people human, and that's what's going to, that's society, that's how that, life works. But with AI, or coming on to the AI section, that, saying that metaverse wouldn't help, AI can tailor the way it communicates. It might not be human, right? But the way it communicates information can be tailored to how. Obviously, you got ChatGPT. That's more of a general purpose language model. But you can have educational based language models, which are more focused on how it presents the information rather than knowing every single thing on the internet. And I feel like that would really help not just me but everybody if it could be, you know, supplied for every school, let's say.
So AI, going back to your AI point, right? So with AI, you can basically tailor every single course that has ever been taught to any single child in history. You can tailor it to that child to teach that child that subject at their pace.
Yep.
Which is never ever going to be matched by any teacher unless it is one-on-one teaching.
Yep.
But you still need the human interaction, don't you?
Yep.
You still need to go to school. You still need to have bullies. You still need to have detention. You still need to have sports day. So you're never going to lose schools. But don't you think that schools should maybe adapt to integrate AI when it becomes available?
Absolutely. I think it does. I feel like at the current stage it's at, it's very hard, and to run it you need at least, you know, I mean, to be able to like manage, let's say each school has their own server they need to run it on, you need a decent amount of hardware like GPUs to run it, because I mean the way AI works, it's not, you know, it's not just an application. It uses what's it called, like it uses vectors, which is more GPU based rather than like CPU and GPU. So you need a bunch of GPUs in order for every child to use it. So,
yeah, but if you look at, so we've looked at Singularity. We're going to look at Singularity again in the future, in a minute. We've also looked at Fetch. Fetch is a decentralized collection of bots.
Yeah.
Right. So forget the technical side, because as far as I'm concerned, you're never going to have a school that needs to have its own AI. But what you would have is you'd have a Fetch super network where you've got your GCSEs, your A levels in the UK, then you've got your SATs or whatever it's called in America, then you've got the Australian one. All it has to do, what's wrong?
I was reading the comments while you were speaking. Some person made a good point. In Binance said AI is getting stronger than before in recent times. Definitely.
Yeah.
One of it, I never like to laugh at someone, but it says, "Dear sir, please send me 5 Bitcoin. Please, my Binance UID is this." Who's going to send you 5 Bitcoin? Wow.
Unfortunately, I haven't got $100,000 to send you. Oh, no, actually, no, it's more. I haven't got $140,000 to send you, so I'd love to send
Go talk
you
to Elon Musk if you want that.
5 Bitcoin, but maybe Michael Saylor will reach out to you and pay you. But what I mean is, so you're never going to need a school or a college to do this. You're going to need a decentralized network, and Fetch is probably better than Singularity for offering it as a solution because it's got different bots. But like Web3 Superstar says here,
yeah, I'm reading now about to say,
you're going to have the ability to learn a subject. You know, in the sci-fi films where you've got the computers and it plugs into your brain, and it downloads how to fly a helicopter, and you can fly a helicopter in 2 seconds, or the Matrix where it teaches you jiu-jitsu in 20 seconds. We're not going to get to that point, but we are going to get to the point where you could teach a 15-year-old kid over a weekend how to use CSS or HTML. Then over the course of a week, you might be able to teach them the basics of JavaScript.
Yeah.
So what you're doing is you're accelerating the learning process, but the child still needs to grow physically to be able to absorb that information and have fun. So what it should do is it should shorten the day for education and lengthen the day for more outdoor pursuits.
Yeah, Sweden's a good example of a school like that, where it has, I don't know if it's, I think it's only like 1 or 2 schools maybe or something like that, but it has stuff like that where it's more open and it's catered towards...
What was the name of it again?
I think, I can't remember, I think it's in Sweden or something. It's one of the Scandinavian countries.
Finland.
Oh, it might be Finland.
Finland, they do about 3 hours of schoolwork a day.
Is that for every school?
That's
Or for most,
3 hours of, that's up to the age of 12 or 13. And then after that, it goes up a little bit more, but not a lot.
Yeah.
But they don't have any homework because they want their kids to play and learn. So you're right. There are places like that. You're right, and it takes the pressure. At the minute, what you got to remember is this education system's 200 years old, and basically they took your kids because they couldn't make them work anymore, and they didn't know what to do with the kids because the parents still had to work in the various factories. And what they did was they decided to put them, basically, schools are prisons for under 18s, right? Can you leave during the day? No. Do you have to go in? Yes. What happens if you don't go in? You get fined. So it's a prison for kids, right? It's 200 years old. It's out of date. It's probably 10 years, 20 years out of date now if you look at the way society's gone. So why don't you have a 3-hour learning day where you learn what you need to learn, but then have another 3 or 4 hours where you learn like how to paint, how to play a guitar, how to sing. So you still got to do the 7 hours, because obviously parents can't afford to stay home and look after you for the rest of your day. So you still have to be somewhere.
But do something enjoyable.
Precisely.
You're still learning something.
And you don't get rid of teachers. You still need teachers. Don't forget, teachers are a role model for you. So if you come from a bad family, teachers are great role models. That's why boxing clubs work so well in poor areas, because they've got a role model to look up to. So your skills should basically go from something, from Oliver Twist's time to something more enjoyable.
Yeah.
Don't you think?
Absolutely. What was I going to say? I'll go on to Web3 Superstar's point of getting stuff in 2 seconds. It's another thing which is another way they could use AI, even currently right now, to teach, is because obviously I feel like the best way of learning something is to do it right. Let's learn a language. Let's say with these even with the example of what we just talked about with language, you get these courses where you go for however long, a semester, whatever it is, in the country itself, practically speaking there. And it says itself it's the best way of learning it. Yeah. So if the best way of learning is doing, a way which you can use AI, which I've used it and everyone's used it, is where you can ask it something. So instead of going onto Google and finding a website which is like a forum, which like Stack Overflow. Let's say I'm learning C++ right now, and I'm trying to learn, wherever it is I'm trying to learn. Instead of going on to Stack Overflow, which is like where a bunch of programmers talks about problems, and trying to figure out a problem by someone else's solution, I can ask the AI, which knows everything, what it is, what the problem is, and it will give me the information, not just in an example I have to understand, in English, in a way I can understand, and give me a code example alongside it. So the way it teaches, you can then change the way you teach by giving them a task, which they might not have any idea how to do. Exactly. They can read a passage and then understand it. Exactly. And if they have any problems, instead of asking the teacher who's only 1 in a classroom of 20, you can ask an AI, which is in 20 or infinite for a class of 20. Yeah. So then therefore the supply of teachers, let's assume AI is teacher, the supply of teacher you have to student ratio is completely changed, which means then every child gets a chance. If the teacher can't, if they want some more human interaction, obviously going to ask the teacher. And the teacher could be there to overview the class to make sure everyone's being all right. But then no child's left, unattended to.
No one's left behind, exactly.
So everyone has an opportunity to understand something. And if it's catered towards the way, a child can pace himself in terms of learning, then it's really good.
Here's another question for you, right? Because obviously you've got friends who are not as good at certain subjects as you, but you've also got friends which are better at different subjects. Now, there's a very good comment, which is, if you ask a fish to climb a tree, it will forever feel stupid. Now, in your schools, the colleges now, you're given a choice of 10 or 12 or 15 different A-levels and 20 or 30 different GCSEs, but none of them are really tailored. Like in Germany, for example, they've got a completely different education system, and from the age of 11 or 10, you decide what your career is going to be. You're going to be an engineer. So then you spend the next 8 or 12 years learning to become an engineer. Problem is, with that type of education, is if you decide you don't want to do that 6 years down the line, you're screwed. With our education system, it's so it's so unspecific, it's so general, you don't learn the skill you need to learn.
That's why you go to university again. That's another extra tier of learning.
Exactly. So if you want to be a programmer, for example, you should learn some element of physics, some element of mathematics, a lot of elements of programming, some elements of UI design, some elements of this, some elements of that. So rather than having a class of 20 kids all learning the same thing at a different pace, you could just have a class of 15 kids all learning different subjects, but they've still got the interaction with each other. They've still got teachers, but they're learning a topic that they want to learn for a career
Absolutely.
that they want. And some of your friends have picked subjects which, quite frankly, they don't really want to do. They've got to the end of the second year of their A-levels and they're screwed because they're having to revise for a topic that they hate, quite frankly. But with AI, they would maybe have never have ended up in that situation, would they?
No. I mean, and alongside that, like, let's say with math, the only one which is currently available is ChatGPT, and it's not really catered towards learning. But like with math, it's hard for people. It's hard if you're not with people who get it.
Yeah.
It's hard to revise, and you either have to put a lot of time in, or you're one of them people who get it immediately in the class.
Yeah.
And if you don't immediately get it in class, you have to learn it at home.
Yeah.
And textbooks don't really. Textbooks are, they're not really the best. That's why you need a lot of teachers and stuff. And there's resources online which you get taught. But with AI, let's say it's not fully integrated to school, and they make an educational one online. The people who don't get it, and they still ask teacher in class, still don't get it. They can then go home to the AI, which can then give it them more in an English, in English way.
Yeah,
and then they can learn it.
And I mean, we could go on. We could talk about schools in Africa. We could talk about leveling the education system, but we're not going to. We're going to wake everybody up now.
Yeah.
With our Singularity price prediction, which I know Cyril is interested in AI coins. I've met him, I've talked to him about it. So this is our price predictions for Singularity or AGIX, and we've done a bit of TA.
I'm not gonna lie to everybody watching right now. You've done a bit of TA.
I've done the TA.
It's gonna be on the screen. I'm gonna put it up and I'm gonna sit back and then you can talk about it. Okay? So I'm not up for it.
So before we get onto it, do you want to read a quick article about Singularity? It's more to do with the performance of it, the latest news.
Yeah. Okay. Singularity and net. Singularity is called though. Right. AGIX. How is the artificial intelligence crypto performing? The latest news. Singularity appears to be the crypto of the moment, along with the graph, which are riding the bullish wave of artificial intelligence. But how is AGIX performing price-wise? What is the latest news on it? As we've seen since December, there have been a lot of talk about ChatGPT, OpenAI's chatbot based on artificial intelligence.
Yep.
Singularity Net and Fetch AI, therefore, it is not a coincidence that the price of AGIX has exploded in recent times.
I mean, there are two picks. Fetch AI and Singularity are our two picks. I mean, there are others. Graph isn't very sexy.
Right.
And I'm not a massive fan of it. I've read it, and there are certain cryptocurrencies which I consider to be fairly boring, right, that do a job. Like, for example, Link. Link is it's like an oracle. It's an amazing project, but boring as hell to look at. Right? Graph, unfortunately, falls into that category for me, and I'm not interested in it. So Singularity and Fetch, for me, if you read what it actually does, they're both very, very exciting projects. Is there anything else on that article you want to read out?
Just talking about some prices and stuff. It says Singularity is currently worth 0.42 cents, or 42 cents, with a performance of minus 1.45% in the last 24 hours.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll get outside the TA.
Okay, so bring the graph up. So what I've done, I'm going to have a little look at the screen now, aren't I?
Yeah.
I don't like looking at the screen during speaking.
Can I not put both these on the same time?
That's fine. Don't drag it down that far. Christ on a bike.
Wait.
What are you doing to the graph? You're murdering the graph.
I'm trying to format it so everyone can see it.
That's it. Stop. That's perfect the way it was there. Right, okay. So, we're in a bit of a bullish pattern, is what you would call it. I've applied some Fibonacci levels to it, and I think the next price target for Singularity would be 70 cents, right? It's not its all-time high. I think its all-time high was 90 cents. So we're still below the kind of the blow-off top run that we had up. It's fallen down. As you can see, we've kind of got to a point now where we are consolidating.
Yeah.
Nothing ever goes up in a straight line. Nothing ever comes down in a straight line. Everything needs to have a certain level of
time period.
It needs a break. Yeah. It can only go down so far before the buy pressure starts to step it up. It's the same with the blow off top that we've had. We can't sustain that price because we've broken through so many resistance levels that we need to find support again, which I think we have done. So there's two targets for Singularity for me. There's the 70 cents target, which is for me a sell price, not financial advice by the way.
Obviously.
There's another level for this, which is if we have a correction in Bitcoin and Bitcoin does come down to 26,000, then I've got ourselves a buy range, which is, what's that on there?
29 to 36.
29 to 36 cents. So if we get to 30, 32, 34 cents, that for me is a good buying opportunity. Because when the run up happens, if you've bought in at 35 cents and we hit my target of 70 cents, you've got 100% return. And I would expect that in a very short space of time, because it only takes Bitcoin to bump a couple of $1,000. You have to remember that these AI coins still have very small market caps. So to move the price, you know, we talked about VRA the other day as well. To move the price of small caps is very easy, and that's when you see these huge run-ups. Like Gala had a huge run-up. It was up like 700% or something. So I think accumulation phase is 29.32 cents. Maybe look to take profits at 70 cents. I mean, 100% profit.
Yeah.
You know, all right, long term, it could be $4, $5, $10 coin, but it's never just going to go straight up.
No.
So when it does go up, you never go broke taking profits, right? And people get greedy as the price goes up. So do some DCAing out. Maybe sell 20% or 30% of the coin when it gets to 70 cents. And then when there's a correction, maybe it comes down to 50 cents again, that's when you buy back in. Okay. So that's my price prediction for Singularity.
I know you talked to me about it before the stream. Didn't the article also reckon 70 cents? I think it did. Or one of the articles.
A couple of the articles I looked at for this have all given the kind of 70 cent price range. So that kind of gives validity to this chart. And again, it's something we'll do once a week. We'll look at a coin. We did it last week with Cardano. We predicted. So sorry. There was somebody predicted Cardano was going to hit. Was it $15, $16 in the next bull run, which would give it the same market cap that Bitcoin's got now. We looked at it and we said, what, $6, $7 next bull run? So we try and give a fair value for coins rather than trying to be these moon boys that appear on YouTube and giving these ridiculous price targets. It's going to 300x in the next 2 months. Well, it's not really, you know. And they always use can, would, should, could. So I think it's a fair price.
Right. So I say thank you for everyone who's sending the gifts. I've got a couple of them. Someone put a happy Easter gif as well.
Very nice.
Yeah, happy Easter everyone. What else is there? Hello everyone.
Web3 Superstar thinks it will 1000x. There we go.
Yes, okay, I think we'll move on to
that. Right, we are on to a game.
A game, right.
Now, I know Cyril likes games, I know Web3 likes games, and I'm sure a lot of people on Binance Live like games. This is Earth from Another Sun. It's a game we've looked at before. You know what we've not said tonight?
What? Like, subscribe?
No, well,
That's
yes.
Notification on.
Can you like and subscribe? If you're watching us, let me just check how many likes we've had.
On YouTube,
Cyril hasn't liked the video, and I don't think Web3 Superstar has liked the video either.
Disappointed. What about Binance? We've got 1.6k views. I don't know where the likes are, to be honest. I can't lie.
They can click follow or like or whatever.
Do whatever you need to do.
So I'll let you take this away because you know a lot about this.
Sure, I've only got the Twitter, so I'll just talk about it instead of showing stuff. I can show the trailer. I'll find the trailer again.
Find the trailer, bring the trailer up, show the game to people.
Oh, this is probably the trailer here.
I think YouTube might be broken because I've liked it and it's only showing 1 like. And Web3 saying he's liked it.
Smashed it. Of course.
So.
I'm on Binance, whoopsie. The trailer's actually on.
With the new home for
Let me pause the music quickly.
Humanity, light years away.
So what will be good to know when we've gone through this is what blockchain it's on, or Do you know? I think I've seen this. I think it's downloadable on Steam. You know.
Is it?
Yeah.
We'll check the website in a minute.
Yeah.
Read I think it's probably Unreal Engine.
Can I make it full screen?
I don't know if it's going to clip though.
Ah, right. Okay.
We'll try it though. Maybe if it clips, it clips. Whatever.
Yeah.
Forgetting how the
Yeah, it's alright.
There we go. That looks good. That doesn't it?
and poised to repeat
Not bad.
the same mistake.
See, this is a really polished game.
Yep.
They've used what is it, Unreal Engine,
Yeah.
which I believe makes it fairly easy to actually knock these
Yeah.
games out.
I mean, you can always tell by the first 6 seconds you look at a game. You can tell, okay, well, it's this Unity or it's Unreal Engine or So I mean, it's looking like it's Unreal Engine. It looks very nice though.
I think of all the games that we've reviewed, because we had our games night on Wednesday.
Yeah, which was smooth as butter.
Smooth as silk.
Yeah.
So of all the games that we've reviewed, this one for me looks the business. It's polished. This and Star Atlas for me
Yeah.
are probably on a par, but I would say that this game is further ahead in terms of being ready. Sorry?
Like development.
Yeah,
stuff,
yeah,
you
yeah.
actually play it.
Yeah, exactly.
I think it's an MMO.
It is, yeah.
Yeah.
It is. You see, now what I'd like to see in this, we talked about this last night as well, didn't we? Now, I'm going to give a shout out to Astrals,
Okay.
which is one of my favourite Solana projects. And they have some incredible races. I think those characters would look fantastic in this game. I know I've said before that I'd like to see them in Star Atlas, but I'd like to see them in Earth from Another Sun. And if Earth from Another Sun can collab with different NFT projects.
Yep.
If you think that you've got 10,000 NFTs per project, and let's say for argument's sake you've got 3,000 holders, if you give those 3,000 holders access to the game, you only need 100 projects, and you've got 300,000 players.
Yep.
And if they can play as their own character, where they get their own special skins or NFTs to play in the game with, isn't that a kind of backdoor way of getting people in? And for people like Astrals or projects like Astrals who they need something that gives utility to these NFT projects, isn't approaching someone like Earth from Another Sun and saying, hey, we've got, we'd like to map our 10,000 characters into your game. I mean, isn't that a win-win from both sides? And I know we've talked about Yuga Labs doing it with Other Side, was it? What's the Yuga Labs game?
It was Other Side and it was like CryptoPunk stuff like that, wasn't it?
Yeah. So isn't the idea of these games to say, right, we're not a standalone game. We'll actually allow integration with different...
It
should be, shouldn't it?
I mean, like, that's the whole idea and mantra of like NFT and Web3 games was the fact of like interoperability and like communication, collaboration with multiple other instances.
Yeah.
But, other than Yuga Labs, it's Other Side with CryptoPunks. You haven't really seen it yet.
No.
I haven't really seen it with Other Side anyway, because the game hasn't really come out or anything.
So I think people like Wangman and Sega who are at Astrals, I think they should be taking a look at games like this,
Space games on the
space
same blockchain,
games, and looking and saying, right, how do we get our NFT project into these games?
Yeah.
Because it's not. You look at Fortnite, you can play as Deadpool or Superman or Spider-Man, can't you? Right. Well, there's no difference between that and allowing an NFT project with its 10,000. I mean, they're not 10. There's like 18 races, so it's not 18. It's not 10,000 different characters. Yeah. Surely it's something that these people should be looking at and saying, I want to play as this character or this character. Obviously, there's some NFT projects that aren't going to work, but that's where Yuga Labs have picked and chosen.
Picked the best ones, which actually look promising and work. Yeah, exactly. I mean, it should be one of the main goals is like collaboration between other projects, because like you said, it's a win-win. You know,
That's what I think.
it brings more like popularity, and you know, what's it called, like functionality with both the projects, because they can communicate between the two of them.
Yeah.
But one thing on the screen right now, which I wanted to point out, was the editor looks like Unreal Engine. So
Yeah.
like I said, but it says design tools our designers use internally will be polished and packaged and released for public use. That means anyone can add new content to the open world galaxy, which is quite interesting. Which means it's similar with Sandbox we saw on the game night, where it will allow people to create, you know, assets and maybe even like ships, etc., and probably get some sort of cut from people buying it and earn from that. So it's another earning method.
So could they allow Astrals to create their characters in this game? Possibly.
I mean,
or is this just for creating terrain and worlds and different things?
I'm not too sure, but I mean, if the designer's using it internally, and this is the tools for designing, that means it should be tools for designing for the whole game. Which means it should be for, like, you know, ships, worlds, characters.
What was that game that you were talking about where they could make their own levels?
Sandbox.
No, this was a few weeks ago. It was a game where you could fight do you remember the giant robot? And you had to kill the robot, and it was built using AI.
Yeah. Oh.
It was an AI. It was an AI created level. It was a giant robot, and they had to destroy it, and it had its own mechanics. But the entire level was created using AI. You brought it up the other week. We'll put that on the stream, because that's
the big
really
robot which you could destroy.
Yes.
The parts was for like Creative 2.0, but it wasn't built with AI.
That was it.
It wasn't built with AI though.
Right. Okay.
You said they should use AI.
That's
to build
right.
It.
Yeah. All right. Well, on Wednesday, we'll have a look at that
AI built games. But it's a very good idea. I mean, like we just, I think we discussed it with AI games. It's like you know, an MMO, for example, and it has, you know, a quest system, and the idea of using AI is like you have your own, you know, you have quite a general world built, and the AI is the NPC. Unless you have a certain, you know, amount of items of like poppy seeds or whatever, and you get a completely unique quest chain which you can play. And then I think one of the ideas was that you could sell this quest chain for people to play, which means, you know, you can get like, gather bread, for example. That'd be like a common NFT. It wouldn't sell for it much, but you could say, okay, do this quest line, get this sword. But I mean, because then could you get AI generated weapons then, which had its own custom things with like parameters of how much damage it could do?
I'm going to tell you something in a second, but first, Web3, the game is called Earth from Another Sun. Do you want to bring up the homepage for him?
Yeah.
I
can put it in the YouTube chat.
Yeah. Have you ever watched Star Trek? Not much. Right. The reason I'm bringing this up, in Star Trek, you have something called the holodeck.
Right.
Now, the holodeck is an AI-generated game, basically. And the game can be, create me a 1940s French cafe. It can be, put me on the moon.
Oh, right, with a big... Yeah, okay.
Right. Now, you look at where we are now with AI and Unreal Engine, and you look at VR, we are a year away from a holodeck. Think about it. You've got if you connected Unreal Engine to an AI interface to a VR headset, you could have any type of game generated, like you just said, specifically for you.
Yep.
And then me in this room, you in another room, and let's say Cyril in another room, we could all join a completely AI generated game, couldn't we?
Yep.
In theory.
Which could all join. I mean, what I was going to say is, it's like you said, you know, within a year, but there's so many things. A bit of like, you know, the situation with like AI games is everything's the time's completely gone.
No, what's really weird
is
I've got a different version of YouTube on my phone than we have on the screen.
Are you sure you're not behind on the video?
I think I'm behind on the video.
You just stopped the whole stream to tell me about that. To try and tell me something revolutionary, which wasn't revolutionary. Anyway. There's but like with AI, like there's an AI which can generate 3D models from a thing that's, AI which can generate voices.
Yeah.
AI which can generate even ChatGPT can generate code, albeit bad. That's why we saw in that thing which we did last Thursday.
You still need programmers.
You still need programmers. It's still pretty bad. You still need programmers to think and to check it over. But let's say it does get good. Let's say it gets perfect. Let's say all these technologies get perfect.
Yeah.
You have an AI which can take 3D models.
Yeah.
AI which can program.
Yeah.
AI which can create sound based on voice, which means it can create sound effects.
Yeah.
So you can make sound effects. You can make 3D models. AI can generate quests. It's not that hard. It's just like ChatGPT can do it even. So you've got all these technologies which can import the. Let's say there's a meta AI, so it can import the 3D model for you into Unreal Engine. Let's say, make the sound effects which are appropriate. Let's say a dragon breathing. Let's say there's a dragon model. A normal AI can generate the quest line, and then the meta AI can process this quest line and then code it in to a database, and then code into the game database entry. So you've already got technologies, like assuming everything's perfect. You've already got all the technology you need to do something like this. It's just they need to be, polished a bit, and it needs to be connected with a higher up AI which uses them. And let's say that does come out. In theory, we would have a game which would be fully AI generated. Yeah. But obviously it's just time, like we said.
Yeah, I mean, I think we're at least a year away from that. I don't see how we can do that because there's so many moving parts. I just think it needs more time.
The only possible thing right now in terms of like game development with like AI and stuff is just to speed up the process, because you 100% still need a programmer to still think of the game, program it pretty much, because the ChatGPT can't program the game. I mean, there are language models which are based for programming, but none of them are groundbreakingly good yet. Like I said, we'll give it a year. The amount of developments, which even on like AI Twitter, I've seen some people I follow and stuff. Like, there's a lot of different things I'm seeing, which are promising, very very promising.
No, absolutely.
So
completely agree.
Only time will tell.
Only time will tell. Now then, we are on finally to our Q&A.
We are. How about? All right.
Yeah.
Very unprofessional of me. You can just talk for a bit. I'm gonna be right back.
Okay. Right. So I will give a brief introduction to our Q&A. So every Thursday on our chill show, we have a Q&A. So any questions you've got in the next couple of minutes, leave them below, and we will aim to answer them. But we also have a topic of the week. And the topic of the week this week is go woke and go broke. And before we start, I just want to say this isn't anything to do with any particular group of people, isn't anything to do with slighting them in any way, shape or form, but from an economic point of view, something's happened this week with Budweiser's Light. It's also happened with Disney. Disney's had to sack its CEO and appoint Ivor. He's had to come back. So what we're going to do is we're going to go through a couple of examples of where we think companies have put maybe they've put their profits on the back burner, and we're also going to go through from an economics point of view why we think that's a terrible idea and why we think it's going to be short-lived. So when Brogan gets back, we're going to go through that, have a conversation about it. So if you've got any questions you want to ask about crypto, leave them below. Any questions you want to ask about the Budweiser situation, Budweiser Light, or if you want to ask any questions about Disney and what's happened there, leave them below. Otherwise, we're going to spend the last 15 or 20 minutes of the show talking about this situation we're in, where companies seem to be putting their virtue signaling before their profits, which, as far as a shareholder is concerned, is not the right move. So leave your comments below, and when Brogan comes back, we will go through them. In the meantime, if you haven't done so already, like and subscribe. If you're on Binance Live, leave a comment, click follow. Make sure that you're following Crypto Warehouse on the content feed as well as on the video feed. If you're on Twitter, give me a like. And if you're on Facebook, make sure you join the Crypto Warehouse Facebook group. And thankfully, I've managed to fill the time of Brogan being away by basically talking about everything about the go woke or go broke.
All right, perfect.
So
There's a tweet.
There's a tweet.
Or a video or something.
There's a tweet. There's an article about Disney. Then there's an article about Milton Friedman,
Right.
which is obviously you. Brogan is our economics expert. So as far as economics goes, he's going to be able to talk you through the theory behind this. But again, this isn't to do with any particular group. We're not knocking anybody. This is just looking at it from a purely business and financial point of view.
Yep.
Right, Brogan, take it away.
Yeah, I'm just going to read. Okay. We've got a 54-second video.
Now this is
somebody.
All right, so there's
All right, play the video first.
a lot of people talking about the new trans spokesperson for Bud Light beer, Dylan Mulvaney. Apparently, to celebrate Dylan's 365th day as a woman, they've put Dylan's face on the can. Yeah, you know Dylan, the woman. Yeah. Personally, I think it'd be more appropriate to put David's face on some Pennzoil transmission fluid. Get it? What the hell? Hey, Bud Light, my mom's been a woman for 23,725 days. And you didn't put her face on a can. Rosa Parks ain't on a can. Mother Teresa ain't on a can. Joan of Arc ain't on a can. Mother Mary ain't on a can. And she gave birth to Jesus. Anyway, if you're one of the people boycotting Bud Light for partnering with Dylan, I'd like to congratulate you on joining the rest of the world who's been boycotting Bud Light ever since we discovered it's literally the most disgusting tasting beer known to man. But seriously, if you're one of the folks who's mad that the official spokesperson for Bud Light is now a trans person, take a look in the mirror. You're drinking light beer. You're halfway there yourself. All right, so there's a lot of people talking about the new trend.
So as an Irishman,
Right.
I completely agree with him. So
Also, what Disney was, you know?
yeah, we'll go to the one Disney one in a minute. So basically, Brogan, what's happened is that Bud Light have chosen a trans person to advertise their Bud Light beer.
Right.
To celebrate this person being a woman for 365 days. Without getting into the reasons and the issues for that, it's caused massive outrage in America. Kid Rock, you might want to bring this. Oh, actually, no, you can't bring this up because he's got a GUN. So basically, Kid Rock has put up another video, which I couldn't show because of what he does. And he basically turns to the camera and said, "This is what I think of your decision." And he puts a few packs of Bud Light on a wooden tree stump and then does something into them with an incendiary weapon.
So boom, boom, boom. Right.
Yeah. So that's a bit funny, but I didn't want to put that up because it's a bit too, violent. Whereas Tom, Canadian rapper, he's outspoken, but I think he's fair. So that's the first thing. Yeah. So that's the light-hearted view. But what you're going to read out now is incredibly unbelievable. You're not even... The numbers are astronomical.
I'm ready.
Take it away.
Let's go. Right. Walt Disney lost $123 billion while pushing woke politics in 2022. Walt Disney Co. paid a heavy price for their foray into woke politics as they lost $123 billion of their market value as stocks dropped 44.58% from the beginning to the end of 2022. Whew. The company opened the year at $156 per share after a year of battling Florida Governor Ron DeSantis, pushing woke content in their blockbuster movies and replacing their controversial CEO with his predecessor, Disney. Disney closed the year at $86.88 a share.
Yeah. Now, I remember when Disney was $110, and that was a good 5 or 6 years ago. So they've lost $123 billion off the value of their company because the CEO spent his time trying to make the company woke. Is there anything else on that one?
I'm trying to find something.
That was just the headline figure that I found. Because the other thing that the article doesn't mention is that because of their actions, and we're not talking about a mermaid in this, that's not the point. I don't give a monkey's what the mermaid is. It's a fictional character. I don't care who the shark is. I don't care who the lion is. The fictional characters. We're not talking about the skin color of anybody. What we're saying is that their target market is a certain group of people, and they went so far off. You know, what was the name of that bank that went bust in America? Silicon Valley Bank.
Yep.
They spent millions on a woke agenda during the time that they were losing money, right? So we've set the stage. We've got Bud Light, who not only Bud Light, but Budweiser is now going to lose an absolute fortune. If you've got shares in Budweiser, sell them. Not financial advice, but sell them, right? Because there's going to be a huge backlash on this. Disney have lost 123 billion off its share price. It's the biggest loss in the company's last 50 years. Now, you've got a slightly more academic article, which you're going to understand more than anybody else.
With Friedman and stuff.
Yeah,
Right.
so I'll let you read that in peace.
All right. Fine, yeah.
And then you can give us your thoughts on this.
Let me go to here. Okay, so was right on corporate governance, and the woke CEOs ignore him at shareholder peril. Yeah, so basically, Milton Friedman's idea in theory and economics was basically that a company's sole objective is to fulfill its shareholders, wants, which is basically highest revenue.
Yeah.
Or it should be highest profits, but it's highest revenue.
Yeah.
Which is not what is basically going on with this woke agenda. Basically, the majority, it's focusing on the minority rather than the majority, as we can see by the 48% fall in stock value from Disney.
Yeah.
Is the fiduciary?
Fiduciary.
Fiduciary. I've never seen that word. Fiduciary.
Fiduciary is basically to do with company management and how you manage a company.
Right, okay. Is the fiduciary's responsibility of the directors to protect such assets, maybe even the entire free market system too. Alright. The Business Roundtable, an association that counts among its members the CEOs of some of the largest public companies in America, announced this week a fundamental change in its new definition of the purpose of a corporation. Mainstream media genuflected,
Yeah.
Milton Friedman rolled over his grave. Motivated by profits. An Nobel Prize-winning economist and best-selling author helped to create the predominant view that the purpose of a corporation, particularly a large public traded one, is to increase its profits. Like I said, yeah. To quote Friedman, there is one and only one social responsibility of business: to use its resources and engage in activities designed to increase its profits, so long as it stays within the rules of the game, which is to say, engages in open and free competition without deception or fraud. Yeah, fair enough. The overriding tenet of corporation finance, present in every college textbook, states that the role of the finance manager is to increase shareholder value.
Absolutely.
As it should be.
Absolutely.
I'm gonna skip a bit of this. Corporate social activism, just call it what it is, with devastating effects on corporate reputation and shareholder value. Starbucks under Schultz, Target Corp, Dick's Sporting Goods, IBM, Disney, ESPN, Kellogg's. The results have been a punishing lesson about mixing non-corporate ideas with profit and loss statements.
Absolutely. Almost
immediately remedied upon backtracking their social initiatives. There's a big thing from Friedman. I'm not gonna read that out. Whatever. I think that's basically it.
You don't have to read anymore. So I've got my opinions on this.
Right.
But before I go into my opinions on it, do you want to go full screen? I'm going to ask you a question. Yeah. Well, I think we're probably going to end up making a video out of this, so it doesn't have to be a short.
That's fine. I'll just look somewhere.
So, from your point of view, you're doing economics.
Yep.
The first objective of any business is to make money.
Yep.
Okay. A charity is not set up to make money. It's set up to aid a particular theme.
Yeah.
Right. So, do you think that these companies are virtue signaling? Do you think they're doing it to try and be popular with the current theme of the day? And so we'll start with that. So why are they doing this?
Well, it's like you said. I think it's because the amount of representation and boom that the minorative views and situations that are going on in the media, I think they're being over displayed and over talked about in media, whether that be the knowledge of the companies or not. I think that is causing companies to believe that this is the new thing that they should be focusing on. They've done it before with, I can't really think of an example, but they've changed the way some things work, or they've advertised in a certain way, or they've done things to try and be popular, and they've used the current news to try and do that, and it's worked well. But I feel like the current representation of what people believe on the news, rather than what actually people believe in terms of, LGBTQ stuff, is different. There's a disparity there, and it's a simple case of what's it called, like
groupthink, or
it's knowledge, imperfect knowledge, basically, where the company it doesn't have the same information that the consumer does. Second car dealerships have this, where the dealer knows more about the thing than the car than the buyer does, in terms of like mileage or usage or whatever, or problems with the car. So I think there's a divide in the knowledge between what the consumer wants and likes to see and the company. I feel like they're trying too hard based off of what they know based off the news. They're trying too hard to focus on LGBTQ stuff and inclusivity, and the majority of people don't really care.
The other thing, of course, is it's not just that; it's also the green agenda, isn't there?
Right.
So there's it is that in these two instances, you're right. It's this, but you've got the green agenda, where they're trying to say that they're being green or whatever else it might be. But let me ask another question then. So. In the past, so let's take, for example, Marks and Spencer's a few years ago. They ran a sandwich, which was a rainbow sandwich, and some of the profits were given to the gay and lesbian charities to help promote, inclusivity and things like that. Now, for me, that's a great idea, and the line in the sand for me is that, when you do something, you do your market research, and your market research says, right, we're going to ask a broad range of people what they think of this can of beer. And if 80% of people think it's rubbish, we're probably not going to make the can of beer. I don't believe these companies are carrying out market research. What I think they're doing is they're carrying out market research on a sample of people who will already agree that it's a great idea. So do you think that maybe it's not groupthink? Do you think they've just gone down the rabbit hole and they don't realise what they're doing until the backlash hits them? Or do you think they've gone down the route of saying, right, well, we're going to take on certain individuals, maybe green activists or other people in different areas. We're then going to put them in charge of X, Y, Z, and then they've made the decisions on behalf of the company. I mean, how have they ended up like this?
Well, I agree. There's a time lag between what the company does in terms of, like, or let's say Disney, for example, producing a media like a TV show or film, and changing, let's say the story had like a white person and changed to a black person, for example. There's obviously like a time lag between them, and like you're saying, with the it is technically group thinking, and it's an echo chamber.
That's right, an echo
chamber of, well, one person, and an echo chamber within the people they're asking, or like management in the company. But it's also, I think, within the market, within the big, the big, not even just like a single market, but just the big company, top 100, let's say. I don't know, but everyone's seeing what everyone else is doing because it's public, and so they're just doing what everyone. I feel like that some companies are doing what everyone else is doing to try and stay popular, and then, like you said, some are just they've.
But their definition of popular is trying to appeal to 0.5% of a population or 2% of a population, isn't it?
Yeah, another problem with it is going back to the news sector. Is let's say you have your group think within Disney, or let's say, or Starbucks. And you have your management or your advisors within the company. They're being influenced as well by the news. Everyone's being influenced by the news. So it's also what's in the news, and they're just regurgitating that within the group think in the company. So, obviously there's trying to stay popular, but I think it all boils down to the news and what people are being told.
See, right, I'm going to give you my opinions now because
I've talked for ages.
No, not because of that. I mean, they're very valid points. That's exactly what they've done, in my opinion. They've become very myopic, very short-sighted. They've listened to a certain group of people that have advised them on things. But, I ran a company for 20 years with my business partner. And our definition of inclusivity was not the same as what's going on now. So if you have a brand, and let's pick Budweiser, it's the easiest one. So we got Budweiser, and they've got different brands of beer, okay? And then somebody comes along and says, right, well, we're not very inclusive. We don't appeal to certain markets, right? In the past, maybe 20, 30 years ago, what you would do is you would create a brand of beer that would appeal. So let's give you an example. Let's say we make a Caribbean beer, right? So we'd have Bud Light, Bud, and then we might have Bud Red. And Bud Red is a beer that we target at Caribbean markets. So it might have a certain flavour. It might copy a brand of beer from the Caribbean or whatever else it might be. And we would add a brand to our collection of beers. Because we'd say, right, okay, well, how many Caribbean people are there in America? 2 million, right. Okay, well, we're going to target those 2 million people with this beer. We might sell 1 million or 2 million or 10 million cans a year to that marketplace, right? Or we would say, right, okay, well, we're going to run a campaign because we believe in equal rights, and we also believe in the rights of equality, for example. So we might have a beer for women. We might have a beer for the LGBTQ community. We might have Bud Pink or Bud Female, whatever else it might be. So to be inclusive, we would try and create a brand that target market would enjoy. And we might end up with 7 or 8 beers. And then you sell them for 12 months, and that particular beer that targets that market doesn't work, so we withdraw it. And you might end up with Bud Pink, Bud Light, and Budweiser. That's it. Because maybe women don't want to drink Budweiser, maybe it's not the kind of thing they want to drink, or whatever else it might be. That was inclusivity 20 years ago. And what inclusivity now appears to be, especially when you look at Disney and look at Budweiser, is 90% of their revenue comes from the mass market, and they're changing the product that's advertised to the mass market to cater for 1 or 2 or 3% of the population, which is then alienating 90% of their revenue base. Yep. Now, I'm not saying that having this person on the can of beer is a bad thing. I'm not saying that Disney having their different characters is a bad thing. But what I'm saying is that they're shooting themselves in the foot. And going back to Milton Friedman, is the entire point of running your company is to make a profit for your shareholders. If you go down this route and you alienate 90% of your market by going woke, you will go broke. Whether you like it or not, the green agenda is something totally different. Companies should be moving to recycle bottles, recycling, using paper, using less plastic. That's a different kettle of fish. Your entire company should try and be as carbon neutral as possible. But when you're talking about selling a product to a market, you're alienating your entire revenue base to cater for a tiny minority. Just make another beer. It's the same like Marks and Spencer's made a sandwich and then went out and gave money to that community to help them with equality. Why have we gone down this route of it's this way or it's no way?
Exactly. I mean, one of the points I was thinking of, like while you're talking about and what I was talking earlier, was the fact that they're changing their sole product to include this, to like it's a virtual signal, or to make sure everybody knows that they're doing this, and there's no other option. Like there's no people where it's like, okay, well, let's say there's some people in the percentage which don't want to see this and don't want things to be altered because of the fact they want to be inclusive, whatever. there's no other options. Like with Marks Spencer's, there's however many other sandwiches there.
Yeah.
It's not like they need 50% of the sandwich to be rainbow coloured and 50% to be not. It's still inclusive.
Precise. And the thing is,
trying.
And this sounds daft, but if I went into Marks and Spencer's and I saw a sandwich and it said 50% of this sandwich will go to the Gay and Lesbian Equal Rights Society, do you know what? I would buy that sandwich to support them. Or this sandwich is made with 100% recyclable packaging and 50% will go to the World Wildlife Fund. I'd buy that sandwich. But what I don't want to do is go in and be told that I have to pick this. I'm like, you're taking away my choice.
Yeah.
And that's my issue is that, and the problem is, and we all know what's going to happen, and it's the same with Netflix, it's the same with Amazon, it's the same with all the different streaming channels. They're going to try and promote this agenda, and they are all going to lose money. So rather than creating programs and creating films and creating products to cater for these markets, they're changing everything to cater for them. And that's my issue. And at the end of the day, their job's to make money. And if they don't make money, if I was a Disney shareholder, if I had 15% share in Disney, I'd sack the entire board. I'd sack them all. You're destroying the company. Go away, bring in a new board, which is inclusive of all different backgrounds and races. I would say, right, this makes us the profits. You know, the different Disney characters, whatever, this makes us the profits. But we're also going to make films to cater to these different, you know, minorities. What we're not going to do is we're not going to reinvent Cinderella to put a beard on her. And we're not going to reinvent, you know, a different thing because you're alienating the people that watch you in the first place. I don't get these people.
No, not at all. I mean, they need to, you know, like I said, second the board, they've had 40-something% loss. And this was, I think, one of the worst, I think it said in the article, the worst loss Disney have had
in
since
50 years.
1974. 50 years.
50 years.
They've, you know, let's say it wasn't to do with inclusivity. Let's say they just genuinely lost 46. That board's gone. It's just gone in an instant because of how badly they've performed.
Yeah.
They're getting a whole new board.
Yeah.
So it should be treated the same. It shouldn't. You've done this poorly. I'm going to sack you all. And like I said, with inclusivity, you know, on the board, it still needs to include many different backgrounds. To
Exactly.
See, not just for the matter of the fact, it needs to be so that, okay, well, let's say they're making a new show. They want to see, okay, well, like in terms of like community-based, what they like. Let's say like the you know, white people, black people, like Spanish people, Mexican, like
Asian people.
Exactly. They need to see, okay, well, like, you know, what's offensive, what's not offensive, what do you like in a way, what do you not like, you know, that type of stuff.
I mean, I exactly. There's a.
So I was just saying, this guy's put, give me BTC coins. He's put this 5 times now. Okay, I'm going to talk to this guy. You're not going to get BTC coins. Okay, you've pasted 5 times. You want BTC coins. You're not getting any. Okay, so you can leave if you want to. Just stop. He's done a 6th one now. He's done a 6th one. No one's giving you BTC coins. Okay, Jesus Christ, this guy.
So, I mean, we better wrap it up, I think.
Right, yeah, it's been a while. How long have we been live for?
We've been live for a while. So,
Nearly 2 hours.
I think we're both in agreement.
Yep.
Companies need to be inclusive by offering a bigger range of products than trying to change the products they've already got. That goes for Disney, that goes for Budweiser, that goes for Kellogg's, that goes for all these different companies.
Yep.
So, when are we back? Monday.
I'll be 18 then. I'll be a whole new year.
You'll be a whole year older.
Yeah.
So, thank you everyone from watching. Thanks to
Thank you,
Web3
everyone.
Superstar for his comments. Thanks to Cyril. Thanks to everyone that's been watching.
And gifting, thank you very much.
Yeah.
We still need to learn what everything means, but thank you very much.
In the next few weeks, we'll learn that, and we might do we might do a live stream on Saturday morning, but we'll see. So anyway, thanks for watching, and we'll see you soon, guys.
Goodbye.
Cheers.
Let me switch.